Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Happy New Year. Hope all is going well with you and your families.
Welcome to 2019.
Right. My name is Samuel.
And this is Kirsty.
And we are with Fresh Start Financial Education. Many of you who follow us may have noticed around Christmas time, we purchased a new vehicle. And we purchased it cash. And we also shared that we would give some insight on how to purchase a vehicle cash. So this video, as you can see, 5 steps to buy a car without going into debt.
Yes.
Just to give you a little background, that whole concept and idea was extremely foreign to myself and my wife.
Yeah.
I thought that having a car payment was just a way of life. You know, you're just going to add it to your budget. It's just going to be something that you're going to have for the rest of your life. But then, and I began to read, God's word and his thoughts on debt and how we should not accumulate a lot of debt. I began to have a paradigm shift, as in, I don't have to live a life with car payments.
Right.
So, hopefully these steps help. And Kirsty, you want to share? Was that your same thought process as well?
Yeah, I just remember, as a young adult and even growing up, I just thought that's how you buy a car. The idea of walking off the lot and not owing anybody for that vehicle was completely foreign. And I'm really thankful that we now have come into an understanding that not only is it possible to buy a car without going into debt, it's wise to purchase a car without going into debt.
Right.
For many reasons, one of which Samuel mentioned, the Word of God shares with us that we should not be going into debt, especially for, things that are unnecessary, which we now know that going into debt to buy a car is unnecessary. Another reason why it is not wise, I don't believe, to purchase a car,
finance a vehicle,
right? Going to debt to buy a car is because every single time you get into that vehicle and you go even an inch, it's losing value. So if you are financing a vehicle, you're most likely paying some level of interest. So you're paying back that lender more than what you actually use to purchase your car. Interest. You're paying them for letting you use their money, basically.
Right.
So the idea that you're going to be paying interest on something that's losing value every single time you use it, it's just like throwing money out the window.
And we don't want to throw money out the window. We want to save for our future. Those funds can go towards saving for your child's college education or giving in a greater capacity. So
many different things.
So let's get into it. So step number 1 to buying a car without going into debt.
You want to eliminate any existing car loan as quickly as possible. So a lot of times, I'll say this first. We should be thinking about our next car before we need it at that moment. So the idea that, knowing that we're going to need to have a vehicle, right? We're going to need to replace a vehicle. A car is not going to last forever, right? So it shouldn't be a surprise to us when we need another car. You might not know exactly when that's going to take place, but you want to start preparing and making sure that you are working towards your next vehicle before you even need it. That way you don't end up in a terrible bind where it doesn't give you time to put these steps into place and prepare for it.
Right.
So the first thing you want to do before you even need another vehicle, if you have an existing car loan, is to do everything you can to get out of it as quickly as possible. And some ways that you can do that would be to accelerate payments. So pay, just because you have a certain amount that you have to pay each month doesn't mean that that's all you can pay on it. So contacting the lender or whoever you financed your car through and saying, hey, if I want to pay some extra towards my balance each month, just towards your principal, that's very important. You want to pay just towards the principal, finding out how your particular lender will accept additional payments. Another thing you can do, like let's say you are close to having it paid off, or you end up coming into a lump sum, or you already have some savings or whatever the case, calling your lender up and saying, hey, I have X amount of dollars. Will you accept that to pay off this loan and give me the title to this car? And you could save money that way too, as opposed to dragging out the payments. A lot of times the lenders will be okay with taking a little bit less if they get all their money at once.
Right.
We actually did that when we first met. A lot of you guys know, and if you don't already know, when Samuel and I got married, we were facing over $50,000 of debt that I brought into our marriage, and we were able, by the grace of God, and hard work, to knock that out in the first 15 months of our marriage. One of the things that we had to pay off was the vehicle that I drove. And once we got to that item on the list of things that we were paying off, we called up the lender and said, hey, I know we still owe X amount of dollars on this car, but we have X amount. And they accepted it.
Yeah.
They took the money, and we ended up saving a bunch of money that we thought we would end up having to pay. But just picking up the phone and making the phone call, we ended up saving a lot of money,
Yeah.
and we were able to get rid of that car payment.
Absolutely.
So that's what you want to do. You want to get rid of any car payment that you might have, because A, you want to eliminate debt anyway. You want to work towards that.
Right.
But B, it'll set you up to be able to put money towards your next car if you're not dishing out $300, $400, $500, $600, $700 or more sometimes on a car payment every month. It'll
Absolutely.
free that money up for you to start planning for your next vehicle or for whatever else you might have coming up financially.
Absolutely. And so step number 2, to buy a car without going into debt, you want to start saving. And this is a big part of the process of what Kirsty and I teach as far as living below your means. Because if your expenses are greater than your income, you're going to be in the red each month. So we want to make sure that we're living below our means so that we have funds to save. And there's several different ways you can live below your means. You definitely want to minimize your expenses.
Right.
In every capacity. So you just want to just cut back from your cell phone bill. I have a friend of mine who in 2019 does not have a smartphone. He's doing very good with his money. He's very frugal. And it just, how bad do you want it? You know, he has some personal goals and some things that he's saving for. Things like cable, you know, they're luxuries. You know,
right.
and there's just different ways that you can minimize your expenses, and so that you can create income, you know, free up income to be able to save for your vehicle purchase.
Right.
And you can also generate additional income. Right. So even if it's taking on a temporary part-time job, that for a season you're going to make a sacrifice for your family so that you don't have to finance a vehicle, so that you can purchase the vehicle cash. You want to have the goal in mind, because if you don't have the goal in mind, it's easy to just follow what everyone else is doing, and that's financing vehicles. And you get locked into a payment 5 years for the rest of your life. The average car payment now in America is over $500 a month. And you get locked into that. So we want to help avoid that. So step number 2 is to start saving.
Right.
Even lastly, in that process, create a separate account.
Right.
So don't mix your bill spending or bill paying account with your vehicle saving account.
Right. So
separate the account.
So like Samuel mentioned, just a couple weeks ago, back in December around Christmas time, we purchased another vehicle. That was one thing that we actually had to do. We had a separate account already that we use when we're saving for certain things. That account became our car saving account. So we would move money over into that account each pay period or each time we got paid. We were intentional about saving and putting money into that account.
We were paying ourselves a car payment.
Exactly. So that's another good point. You saying paying yourself a car payment. So people that are accustomed to making a car payment, you kind of get in the habit. You know that, again, $300, $400, $500, $600, $700, whatever it might be, is going out the window each month for a car payment. Once you eliminate that debt that you have,
right,
keep paying yourself that and use that as a savings for your next car, because again, you know that it's coming, you know, and it's wise to plan for the future as opposed to being, you know, caught off guard with it, and then, you know, you got to make some decisions that might not be the best. So pay yourself that car payment each month, put it in a separate account so that it is there when you need to make a move.
There you go. And so step number 3 to buying a car without going into debt.
Do your research. Pick up a book, pick up a phone, jump on Google, jump online, talk to your friends,
Yeah.
find out what are some reliable vehicles, cars that you like, cars that will meet the need for what you're going to be using it for. So thinking through that too, it's important to think through, what am I going to be using this car for? Everybody's needs are different. Myself, being a real estate agent, I spend a lot of time in my car.
Right.
So it's important that I have a car that had
Low mileage.
because I knew I was going to be driving a lot, putting a lot of mileage on the vehicle. I would like something that was comfortable, because again, I'm spending a lot of time in this car. But some people, we know some people that do spend very little time in their car.
Yeah.
They might work right up the street or
work from home.
Work from home, right?
Yeah.
Things like that. So in that situation, you might not need the latest and greatest, top of the line vehicle if you're not going to be utilizing it very often. So
Right.
just thinking through, what am I going to be using this car for? And then doing your research to find a vehicle that will meet those needs and be the most cost-effective option as possible.
Right.
So some of the things you want to look at when you're doing your research are reliability. So there are certain makes and models of vehicles that are known to be very reputable and reliable vehicles.
Yeah.
Toyotas. Right. So those are...
Camrys are all over the place.
In our garage,
we have a Camry. Honda Accords are another great make and model.
Yeah, so just different.
Reliable.
There's some very reasonably priced, very reliable vehicles out there that are going to get you where you need to go and create the least amount of maintenance issues for you while you own the vehicle. So that's important. You don't want to just go after what looks the best and what my neighbors have or whatever the case.
Right.
You want to buy something that's going to meet your needs and help you keep your money in your pocket.
Right.
Because you don't want to be in a car that looks great but that's causing you to be at the repair shop every other week dishing out more and more money. Not a good look.
And another thing you can do is explore private sellers. This is what we did, because when you purchase from vehicles, dealers, when you purchase from dealers, they tack on their own fees. That can be $500-$600, but private sellers, most times it just is what it is. They're not going to add on an additional fee to it.
Right.
And
you
can
might
negotiate.
have I was going to say that you might have a little bit more negotiating leverage when you're dealing with just a person that's their car. They can make the decision. Sometimes you go to the dealership and who you're dealing with is not the actual decision maker most of the time, because it's not their car that they're selling.
Right.
They have to answer to somebody else that actually paid for that car.
Absolutely.
So definitely exploring private sellers to get an idea of not only what kind of car I want or I need, what kind of car that I'm looking for, but also what can I expect to pay for that vehicle. So those are the key things that you want to find out. I want to mention real quick too, and we can maybe even put this in the comments, some websites that you can use to do some research. Look at reviews of vehicles, look at their safety ratings, all different kinds of information that they make available to consumers to make informed decisions. KBB, kellybluebook.com, KBB.com,
NADA Guides,
NADAguides.com, Edmunds. There's a ton of different. We even look at YouTube videos. Yeah. So there was a particular vehicle that I was interested in when we were looking for a car last month. I went on YouTube and typed it in, and I watched people, get in and do reviews and drive them, and that way we were able to kind of get a feel for it, before we, pulled the trigger and bought the particular vehicle and test drive. Yeah. Go test drive. It doesn't cost you anything to test drive a car. Sure. Go test drive it, see if you like how it drives, see if it, is comfortable for you. Yeah. That's part of research too.
And that's good. And that leads us to step number 4 to buying a car without going into debt. Negotiate. So do everything you can do to get the best price on the vehicle that you're searching for. You want to get a great deal on it. Obviously, when you're paying cash for a vehicle, I believe in research shows that you have greater leverage when it comes to negotiation.
Absolutely.
When we purchased our vehicle, we purchased from a dealer this time, but we went in there, we had cash. And we told them we were cash buyers, and they made it work. Right.
Go ahead.
We were able to negotiate. We got an excellent deal on the vehicle. We even walked out. We walked out
That was hilarious.
Yeah.
We were so extra. So we were in the process of negotiating this regarding this particular car. They weren't getting right to the number that we wanted.
Right.
Okay. So we said, you know what? There's a dealership down the street that has another one of these cars that we did find online, which was true.
Yes.
That was not a lie. That was true.
Right.
There was a dealership right across the street that also had the car. So we said, you know what? We're just going to go over there and see, what they're talking about. We're going to go see if they can give us a better deal.
Right.
They didn't want to see that. Now, we left. We got up from that table. We left. We went to the other dealership. And we ended up checking out what they had over there. It wasn't quite what we were looking for. So what we did was we knew we were going to go back to the previous dealership.
I called them.
But we wanted to talk to them before we came back.
So I called them and said, hey, man, we're at this other dealership, your competitor. Mm-hmm. And before we make this deal over here, can you get down to the number that we needed to get to with the vehicle that you have? He said, well, if you come back, we can make it happen.
Yep.
We didn't even have any. We came right back.
Right. They didn't have to know that they didn't even have the car that we wanted.
Right.
But we were able to use...
negotiate leverage.
Yeah, use that as leverage because they wanted to earn our business.
Right.
And they knew that we were gonna walk away and they were gonna not make us sell that particular vehicle that day. They don't want that.
Yeah.
So you definitely have more leverage when you are able to pay cash and get the best deal. We ended up, thankfully, paying. When we looked at the value of it and everything, we ended up paying a little bit less than what the car was actually worth. So that was great.
Oh, yeah.
That's what you want. You want to be able to pay right at or even less than what the car is actually valued at. You don't want to pay more for a car than what it's worth.
Right.
I've been down that road even before I met Samuel.
Yeah.
I kind of laugh and joke sometimes with Samuel about some of the car situations that I ended up in, just paying sometimes double.
Yeah.
What a car was worth, just because I was not informed, didn't know any better and didn't do my research and wasn't diligent, didn't try to negotiate. All the stuff we're telling you to do today, I didn't do that stuff, and we ended up paying way too much for cars. So anyway. Yeah,
no, that's excellent and as Kirsty mentioned previously, Kelley Blue Book is a website where you can check the value of the vehicle that you want to purchase.
Right.
And with that, I remember we purchased a separate vehicle, cash from a private seller, and they had it valued at a certain amount, but they didn't have details of their maintenance records. So we got them to knock off several $100s just for the fact that they didn't have detailed maintenance records. But we had our mechanic come out and check out the vehicle. He gave us a thumbs up. We purchased it.
Which is another thing. It's a great point. You don't want to buy a used car, because what we're talking about, we're suggesting that you purchase a used vehicle.
Yes.
Because most of the time, I don't know when it wouldn't, but you should be fine with a used vehicle. But anyway, that's important to do. Have a professional check out the vehicle. You don't want to buy a car just because it looks good. You don't want to buy a car just because you get in it and you drive it and everything seems good for that 5 minutes that you're driving it.
Right.
You want to have a professional check it out to make sure that you are investing your money wisely.
Excellent. And that leads us to the fifth and final step to buying a car without going into debt,
which is maintain it. You want to care for your vehicle because it's an investment. You're going to be saving. You're going to be making sacrifices to purchase this car cash. You want to maintain it. You don't want to just drive it into the ground because that's just, again, money that you're throwing out the window. So part of that is get your oil changes regularly, as any other scheduled maintenance, whether it be fluid flushes or changing filters and all these other things that you need to do to maintain a vehicle. They suggest those things for a reason.
Right.
So don't neglect that. A lot of times it could be a very minimal expense, but if you let it linger and you neglect it, it can become an even bigger repair or bigger expense, and that's just throwing money away. So you want to maintain your vehicle. You want to keep gas in it. You don't want to drive on E, mess up your fuel pump. What else? No,
just good overall. Get you a good mechanic. We use a mobile mechanic. We have a great guy who comes out and is very convenient because we can still work while he's working on the vehicle.
Most things he's able to do.
Most things he's able to do.
Some things we have to take it into the dealership, but most things he's able to do right in our driveway.
Yeah.
So yeah, get a good mechanic that you can trust that's going to be honest. And if you do run into a situation where there's a large repair bill, get a second opinion, even if it's somebody that you trust, because just like most any profession, you know, different people will have different opinions, and they'll see things, you know, that another person might not see, or have a different idea as to how you can go about repairing it or whatever.
Right.
So you have we had that happen sometime last year.
Sure.
We had a big, it was just it was almost $2,000 repair bill. We ended up getting a second opinion and ended up paying a lot less. So get a second opinion when it's a big maintenance item. But regularly maintain your vehicle and make it a priority, because it's worth the money to maintain it on the front end as opposed to throwing a bunch of money out the window on the back end because you didn't maintain it properly.
Right. And then, so say for example, if you purchase a $3,000 vehicle, then you save up and you want to trade that vehicle in or sell it. You sell that vehicle, you get you a $6,000 vehicle. Continue to save up. And it's a cycle that works in your favor, but maintaining the vehicle each and every step of the way so that you can resell it at the highest value. And trade it in for the highest value.
And just get the most life out of it. You want to drive it until you need to get another car.
Right.
Sometimes you want to get something else, but you know, you want to be able to at least drive it as long as you absolutely need to.
Right.
So
so hopefully this video helped.
Yeah.
5 steps to buy a car without going into debt. We wanted to share this because we don't want you to go into debt for vehicle purchases.
Right. And we don't want people, because a lot of times, one of the things that we run into a lot, people that we talk to through Fresh Start, a lot of people are wrapped up in these huge auto loans, and you know, just don't have any consciousness of like, oh well, I needed to get a car. Right. But that's not the only way to get a car. Right. And sure, this is another thing that's important. Sure, you might not, going this route, you might not end up with the car that your dream car right off the bat. No, you might have to start out, like Samuel alluded to just a little while ago. You might start out with something less expensive, but that'll get you where you got to go, that'll get the job done, and you'll be able to use that to trade up, you know, or sell it and use that money to buy something else, and then you eventually have something that you like and that you, you know, desire to have. But it's not always about what you're driving. It's about who's in it and where you're going. It's not about what you're driving necessarily.
There you go. So if this video has helped you, please share it, because we want as many people to get this information as possible. We love you guys, and we'll continue to make these videos. We'll reply to your comments. We see several comments. We'll make sure we reply to those. And also in the comment section, indicate other topics you want us to talk about. We want to make sure that we're giving helpful, compelling information.
Absolutely.
All right. Have a good one.
Good night, guys.